First of all, let me welcome you all to this programme, this launch of the public dialogue on synthetic biology. And may I just say how grateful we are, particularly to the members of the public who took part, who of course are absolutely essential to the whole process. You're not all here, but some of you are just getting here now, which is very good. I should say that this is really the first opportunity really to hear the findings of what is the UK's largest ever public dialogue on synthetic biology. And the research councils are going to be considering how we should respond to and address the findings of the dialogue process. And I guess as representing EPSRC, I'll be somewhat involved in our response from the Societal Issues panel. And I should also, at the EPSRC, and I should also say that I think it's the general view that dialogue is useless if decisions have already been taken about the product we have. So it's very clear we haven't taken decisions about synthetic biology, and that I think is very important. And I think the other issue, of course, with dialogue is that there must be the best possible good quality information about the science behind it as well, and what we also understand as far as we can with regard to the ethical and societal issues. So that's really the purpose of this whole process. We will be filming this event, and it will be available both on the EPSRC's website and the BBSRC's website. And perhaps at this stage I could just introduce my speakers very, very briefly. Firstly, on my left is Stephen Axford, who's the head of the Science and Society team at BIS, at the Business Innovations and Skills, and he's going to cover the issue from a government perspective. And I think what I might do probably is to use the speakers in order. Would that be the sensible thing to do? So I think, if I may, I've said enough about dialogue, and at the end of our process, we hope that we will have a bit of a dialogue, giving you plenty of time to ask us, or rather the panel, questions. Stephen.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for that introduction, and I should just begin with an apology from David Willits, the Minister for Universities and Science, who was to have given this short note about the dialogue and the launch of the report, but regrettably has been called away to presumably more urgent business at number 10. To kick off with, I think we all recognise, of course, that new technologies have the huge potential to drive economic growth and in the long term will benefit all of us. I don't think that point can be lost on any of us at a time when we're facing some of the hardest sort of financial challenges that the country has seen for many years. And if the UK is to make the most of the exciting research and technological advances from our world-class scientists, it's important that we actually know how those advances will impact on the public. The government is fully committed to engaging with the public to ensure that our role as policymakers takes account of public views. That, of course, isn't to say that the public makes decisions on behalf of government, but it does say that the government takes note of how the public will feel and think about an issue well in advance of the major decisions that need to be taken. We're very keen to ensure that policymakers and scientists fully consider and address issues and concerns that the public might raise, particularly around what we might call contentious issues, and I'm sure there have been enough of those in the past few decades. Synthetic biology, which I think for many of the public will actually be a term they probably haven't even heard of, represents a field of research in which the UK has a considerable expertise, and we have taken, through this dialogue, the opportunity to address society's future needs in a carefully considered and measured way. The dialogue has been an invaluable opportunity for people to discuss what they think about synthetic biology. And certainly on behalf of government, even though they are part of government, we would like to thank EPSRC and BBSRC for being the leading sort of activists in carrying out this dialogue. And we are very pleased that this afternoon we also, of course, have David Delpy and Doug Kell here to talk to us. The BIS-funded Science-Wise Expert Resource Centre has provided a lot of support, that's its purpose, and advice for this dialogue, and to make sure it takes account of the experience and best practice in dialogue, and it will continue to build up the capability to use this in future policy areas that may well be strongly dependent on science and technology. It's also important to realise that to carry out the discussion, that we should carry out discussion with the public early on in policy making and research processes. This ensures that the outcomes of the dialogue are able to influence policy before any key decisions are made, and also has a parallel benefit, a complementary benefit, that the public are able to gain an understanding of the technology and its potential rather earlier than if all the science is presented in one sort of fait accompli at the end of the process. So the dialogue on synthetic biology has been a very good example of how this process should work, and it, of course, has been carried out well ahead of the recent development that you will have heard about in the news from Craig Venter on the first cell controlled by a synthetic genome. I'm sure, of course, this then in turn gives us a significant point that, of course, dialogue should in a sense never end, because there will always be new developments and the need to keep on talking. Synthetic biology, of course, could make a huge contribution to economic and technological challenges we face, but it's also important that it's developed responsibly. The results of the dialogue will feed into policy decisions across government, including funding, research priorities, as you will hear from the research councils, and regulation. Of course, the technology is still in its infancy. It's important there is continued dialogue between public, scientists and policymakers to ensure that as this area evolves, it reflects wider public concerns and aspirations. In dialogues like these, it's important to allow participants to discuss not only the specific topic, but also the broader scientific and social context in which it's placed, and for us to help people understand the relationship between those. I hope that all of those who are responsible for developing or even implementing this technology will keep the results of this dialogue, firmly in mind, and ensure that synthetic biology in the UK is taken forward with the best scientific, ethical and social interests at its heart. Thank you.